Hello and welcome to Radically Live Women, Joydah Mae Bernardo. I'm glad you're here. And there are already quite a few podcasts with you on it in the web, so I don't think we need to repeat everything about you, but is there something you want to share about you personally, who you are right now, before we start?
First, I am mother, voice weaver. I share my wisdom through music, and my highest purpose is to serve and to lead with the heart.
Thank you. To lead with the heart. I want to say something about how this conversation came to be because I don't think you even know that because I haven't revealed that to you. But many years ago, probably 4 years ago, something like that, I saw you perform at New Zealand Spirit Fest or Resolution Festival, one of those. And I just was really captured by your presence and your mana wahine, your power. You were really on stage with your music and boom. And I was like, wow, there's someone's home. And I, I've seen you on and off in the web, basically. I haven't seen you in person since. And we have common friends. And it's like there was a seed that was planted in me there of, okay, this is a woman to, I don't know, to do something with. And the seed is ripe to unfold into this conversation now of, years later, whatever comes out of it. But one thing that really intrigues me is, yes, your power of music and songwriting and storytelling and showing up also with a higher purpose for that. It's like you're taking a stand for consciousness. You're taking a stand for women to speak for the earth through your music, and also for children and Indigenous wisdom. And all of these are aspects that interest me very much. And I would love to know what drives you there? What is the motivator for you to do what you do?
That's a great question. And thank you for revealing the connection, the thread that brought us here as we are starting to weave or continuing to weave what we do in our area where we are. So thank you for that acknowledgement. What drives me, I feel what's really going through my body is aliveness of what things I've been through to get to this point, because I think I was once lost into to find my own light, and seeing people finding their own light for me in what I do and who I am. It creates the energetic field of support and service, whether they know it or not, or whether I know it or not. And for me to be who I am reminds people of who they are. And that's part of the reclamation of who we are here on this earth and what I'm supposed to do and what they're supposed to do. My heart is expanding as I answer this question because I don't really have like the right or wrong answer. I just feel that this is what I'm meant to do. I felt what I wasn't meant to do, and it
Yeah.
does not serve my soul or my whole body and my mind. And to be constantly on this path of the unknown, or just feels like there's no path most of the time, makes me feel really alive. And this through this way, I also connect with the realms that I didn't even know it existed, like my ancestors being with me all the time, like what it's like to have what grief means and all that aspects of being human, being here. So there's many ways that really drives me to keep going. And especially now that I am a mother, I think that's part of the fire that keeps me going.
When you say you noticed that, that I think what you said was lost, that you were lost, or that you weren't, you that you realized what you weren't supposed to do. How was that? How did you realize that? Because I think a lot of women or people, humans actually, they are lost in terms of they're not aligned with their heart, their soul, their purpose, and they are so numb to it. Can you reveal more of what was your journey to realize that?
One of the things that I thought what I needed to do here, or as an adult, as you grow up, is to have all these boxes to be ticked. And I did all those stuff. The things that I, most of it I rejected growing up because I just didn't have the wiring for it, being programmed, into what it means to be successful, what it means to, have a family, what it looks like. There's this like certain way that's been put on a lot of people, especially women, and what they should be doing. And through all those like trials and errors, also ticking the boxes, it made me realize that there's actually another way to live purposely. So, yeah, I was in a marriage for a long time, and I believe it has served its purpose to for my own growth and evolution, and it allowed me to have a son. At the same time, it also gave me the in hindsight of this is what the society is has put on a lot of women and men as well. And so when I got out of that and looking back, I just saw it as like, okay, it was part of my own experience to be awakened from it, giving away my power, working so much that I barely go home. And at the end of the day, there's nothing for me to, like in terms of wages. So all these things, like having a mental, well, back in my village, there's no mental health because everyone is in cycle. So when I came here, just going back a bit, it just really, I guess, put me in a spot where I didn't know how to grow, or I was very stunted in a way when I came here to New Zealand when I was 17. Because in the village, we go through the cycles, even though there's education, like there's still the programming there, we are still aligned with what when the moon is full or when the moon is new. So I had that upbringing. And so when I came here, I kind of thought I had to be someone else because of that.
So you were born in the Philippines and
Yes,
in a village?
I was born in Kabayan Benguet. I was raised by my grandmother. My mother left to New Zealand when I was 4 months old. So I'm like a grandmother girl through and through. And I didn't come here until I was old enough to, I guess, just finding out when we're ready. So at the age of 16, 17, that's when we came here in New Zealand and to meet my mom for the first time.
Wow, what a
Yeah.
journey. How was that?
Yeah. It was strange, and we didn't know like we know each other, but we didn't know each other. Our anger was our first port where when things kind of gets really uncomfortable. So my anger was the first thing to come in, and yeah, it took me a while to really, I guess, navigate why I was so angry. Anyway, so that's part of our work as mother daughter. Because it was the only thing I knew was to be angry back home. It's the first thing I learned from my uncles and aunties. So yeah, it was a very strange connecting to my mother again, and it took us a long while to it's like it was a long cord from me to her womb, but we got there. We got there.
And how does your, thank you for sharing, and how does your the village upbringing and your grandmother upbringing influence your life today still? What are some aspects of that are important to you, but that you also see that maybe some people are really missing in New Zealand? I see that you brought something really valuable here too.
Yes. So being raised in our village, even though I didn't have a mom that would breastfeed me, I had mothers around me that would come and breastfeed me. So that's like the epitome of what village is like when it comes to mothering. And also someone, I didn't know this until someone said, you're mothering the children wherever you go and what you do. So I often travel and my son gets to be with the other mom. So I get a little bit like, you know, I guess the sadness comes in, and then someone reflected it back to me. You're still mothering the kids around you. You look at the kids around you; they just love hanging out with you. You feed them. You make sure they're okay. You make sure they're safe, and you also make sure they're having fun time. So that's how I grew up. I wasn't told to do that, do this, not do that. I was told to just get muddy, get dirty, just do the things. So for me, how I mother is very similarly like what my grandmother mothered me. So for me, I'm seeing it in that sense. And also being in the village, it's there's indigenous thread that comes when it comes to a community gathering, or we call it sometimes it's just like a feast, like it's like a harvest celebration. No matter what's going on in the field, like not everyone gets along in the village. It's that I want to set that straight. People will still talk about you. People will still, because jealousy, all that stuff still comes in the village. There's always gonna be that other side. It's not always gonna be love and light. And so for me, what I've seen in the field, in the community field, there's this the missing piece is to yes, let's live in this community, and at the same time, let's also embrace that there's going to be this conflict and resolution all the time because we're not meant to be on have the same ideas and all that stuff. For me, looking into people that are trying to have a community and ended up being a controlling community, there's a thread there that hasn't been rewired in terms of what village is like, really. At the end of this, like for all this stuff that happens when there's a feast, there's a harvest, everyone comes in and help with their heart open, and everyone gets fed. All the kids get fed. All the elders sits in space where we can listen to their stories. And at that time, it's always been an exchange of trading of salt, sugar, rice, kumara. So there's always been that beautiful exchange, sacred commerce that I say. And at the same time, when the money came, there's also this openness of money being in the basket along with all this offerings for the community. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of things I can unpack with what it's like to be in the village. To be honest with you, like one of the things that is also things that we ignore in the community is things that are unchecked, which means kids are still not super safe around community. I'm one of them. I got molested in our own village. So for me, I still strongly make sure that the kids around me are protected in so many ways. And this knowing one that would be connected to our community. I'm constantly vigilant about that. I think because of my own experience, because of even your own relatives can do that to you. So for me, that's just me being honest. That doesn't get talked about in villages and community. Is sexual assault with kids, women, even men, all that stuff. It's a Scorpio full moon. It's quite radical, isn't it?
Yes.
One thing that I'm fired up about is we talk about all this church and Christianity in our village, but we don't talk about the children that have been abused. That's my project to get back there.
Yeah. Yeah. You've created some songs around that too, where taking a stand for the children.
Absolutely. That was a big download for me. My own anger. I've worked a lot to reclaim a lot of who I am, my innocence. And when that thing came in, I guess it's been ongoing experimental drugs for people, and then the children gets to be experimented too. I think that's part of, I didn't even realize, because I was one of the kids that got lined up in our village when all these missionaries came with their vaccines and stuff. And coming here just got me, I got more into like learning, and at the same time, it just, everything just opened up when I sang that song, not just in vaccination, but what are the things that they do to children? It's just, it's not easy to actually digest it. I don't think it's meant to be, it's just meant to be, it just needs to be done. And I'm doing my best through music, but it's really a lot to do with the whole community, whole village coming together for this. Yeah, being a voice, for me, that's not enough.
Yeah, I want to just link this to an episode we just released yesterday on next culture villaging. Because I hear you. Like, in order for a village to be safe for children, the adults actually need to be growing up, be willing to mature, and look at their underworlds. And there needs to be, that needs to happen. Otherwise, we're just recreating the same old stuff. And that goes into the larger field also of what we put into the children in terms of medicine, in terms of vaccination, but also in terms of food, in terms of
Yeah,
thoughts. And there's so much thought where that goes into children that is really toxic. And
yeah,
I get that there is a connection there. I get this connection between the children, the music, and this indigenous wisdom. Yeah. For one, I want to ask you, have you ever had this impression that through music, because it's such an ancient way of relaying or being in sacred ceremony also, that through music something happens in humans without them maybe even intellectually understanding it? That is a medium for that. Like the indigenous,
absolutely.
yeah.
I feel like, especially if we're tuned into our own frequency, things get corrupted a lot. As there's a lot of music out there that's tuned into a different frequency that's not necessarily healthy. I've learned this as I said yes to doing music more and being more in the community, that a lot of people have responded back and said, "Do you know that this is what you do to my body? Do you know that this is what happens to my body when you sing?" I don't know until someone tells me what I'm doing. All I know is I'm singing with my whole heart and my soul. And at the same time, I'm getting a lot. I get this, I get given a life force to use to sing. And that life force ends within 2, 3 hours. And that life force gets, it's like the sonic going outside the field, whether you're there or not. It's all the energy is just going into everyone's body, which is, you're looking into bodies of water. And so for me, what happens is there's I guess it's like microcosmic awakening within themselves that they don't know what's happening in there. I started singing some songs to myself, and that was healing me already. And for me, that was first thing I was singing for myself. So I was going through a lot of shit, and I realized I have a voice as well. Something that I took, I didn't really have connection with for a long time. And so for me, when I share sound or a line of words that come through, sometimes it does. It's really the energy of the field that I needed to reflect back. When you see children singing with me or listening, they get a hold, like they just pause because the energy is really bringing them to the present moment. If you see, it depends. If you see a baby, the baby will just run around back and forth in front of me because that's the only way it was transmuting or transmitting around its body. If you see a little older, like my son, it would just be like, just don't know what to do. It's like, I'm just listening, I'm just here. Because it's hitting the heart. The strongest part of is the heart. And just, it's expanding the body with the frequency. Our frequency is healing. That's why I do the voice activation, the humming. before any words that we could speak. The humming is, for me, that's the most important part of tuning into your own sound. Because it's like you muted the outside and you just kind of, your body's just listening to you. And you can feel all the connections or the disconnection that's happened. And so it's beautiful, even in a 2, 3 minute exercise. Joy.
Are you willing to guide us through this now?
I could do a quick one.
Yeah.
So I start from the base, which means your sacral, a lower tone. And I go in the chest. This is your midfield. And then I go to the throat, which is basically, some people really don't know what to do with from the heart to the throat. It's like they don't know how to even do a humming. And then I connect the throat to the mind. So everything's just kind of activated by then. So some people laugh because some people choke because there's like, oh my God, there's all these cobwebs in my throat.
Yeah, because
So
it's huge. It's huge to release that, to reclaim the voice is such an important big aspect. So thank you.
yeah, yeah, because it's a lot harder to speak. It's more the transition to humming. It's like breathing. You just don't, you're breathing, but you forget you're breathing, you know. So for me, humming is just like, oh yeah, I can just hum. You catch your mother humming, your grandmother or the kids humming. It's one of those things. It doesn't have a language.
Mhm.
So you start from the bottom with really coming in from your sacral. It's almost like you're imagining that it, the sound is coming from your sacral. And
Mm.
then you go up. So I do like 4 or 5 times of that. And I go up to the chest and go. Deep breathing in. Then from your chest to your throat. I always invite people to just feel their throat, just the vibration that is coming out from your throat. It's just, I've always been here. My voice, I've always been here. And the final one is the nose from your throat. It's almost like you're getting the sound from your head. So you're breathing in. So a lot of people just do it here. Some singers sing from their head so they can reach that top bit. I sing from my belly, from my heart. So the fire from my sacral. I take everything that I can to breathing in and I release it as slow so I can elongate the note and hit the hearts of many.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad about that.
Mm. Yeah, so because a lot of people, it's like for me when I sing, when they listen to people singing or musicians, there's like in that unconscious, unexpected where it ends, like the end bit of the sound. So when people listen to me, I've noticed this. They thought I'm already done, but I'm still going. So they go, she's still going. And so whatever the guard that they put is no longer, it's like, oh shit, there's more. And so it gets hit. I got a lady when I sang in Prana Festival in Australia. They didn't know who I am. I was the underdog. They just I just put me on the stage. Anyway, she was sitting down and I was singing and everyone was realizing, oh my God, who's this woman? So after that, I walked out. I was on my way back to my camp, and this lady came up to me. There's a couple of them. One is really staunch and said, "Fuck you!" Like really heavily, like "fuck you." And I said, "Oh." And the other one was like, "Oh my God, that was so good!" Blah blah blah. I cried and stuff. The other one was like, "Fuck you! You made me fucking shit feelings. Like I had to feel all my feelings and blah blah blah. I wasn't ready for that." Like really angry, but also lovingly.
That's it, right? We're
I
so
said, I love your feedback. Yeah, so I said, I'm never gonna come to any of your concerts. No, that's it. And then next week I had a side concert after the festival. She was right in front of me. And she said, I'm ready, you're not gonna take me. Like, you did it
wow.
again. But she realized, she's been obviously been programmed not to feel things. She had to like keep going, be strong, as a woman with four kids and one two-spirit kids. And now she realized she's always been like me, similarly. Like I'm not like I'm not gay, I'm not this, I'm just masculine, feminine, but most of the time I'm in my masculine. And so she said I found a way to connect with my youngest daughter because
Mm.
she reflected who I am. And I can now speak to her because I embraced who I am. I wasn't rejecting that I don't have to have a label. So that's one thing that I'm really strong about is labeling really restricts you. We are energy. Gender is energy for me. You're either in your masculine on that day or that minute, or you're in your feminine. Just like me when I'm in my cycle, I get very soft and I don't want to do anything. I just want chocolate. When I'm off it, I'm like, I'm ready to just create and, transform things. So like for me, it's really important for a lot of young ones this time to really focus on the energy more than the label. Because I don't have a label. I have a female body and I love my female body. It took me a while to embrace that. But I am very grateful that the options were never there for me at that time when I was growing up, like testosterone, hormones, surgeries, which are so easy to do here at this time. So for me, we're coming up against those things where looking back, if I did all that stuff, I would have really regretted everything, you know, because I listened and I just kept going, even though I rejected my body. I just kept going and it started to reveal itself. So why I'm in this body. So for me, every morning, every single day that I can remember, I'm still in this body. I feel strong and I feel everything in my body. It's the intelligence, the message it gives me, and how I we thank each other because I'm now listening. I'm not asking to be validated anymore or to be more than who I am. So I feel that's part of the expectation is be something else, be someone else but yourself. So a lot of children are still finding their ways and the development is being hijacked. So as long as we keep my job for me is to keep being who I am. So they can have at least sort of like a difference, unlike that glitch in that normal life they have. So if they see me, and like, oh, who's she? Who is she? Yeah, that's something that I really want to dive into more in terms of how I grew up and what made me who I am to this time of my life, and how I can best serve the ones that are still finding out who they are, especially with their genders.
Thank you. And I also really get this impression that you are willing to keep finding out. That it's not about becoming someone or something rigid, where then it's just another label, but it's like being life unfolding. That's the other words that I use for that. Because that's what
Yes.
we are, right? We are life unfolding.
What I've got, what I've been getting a lot is when they see me sing, and also when they see me out there doing what I do, there's some attachment that comes when I do that. When I'm field and I'm out there in front of everybody, there's this unconscious attachment that comes from people, unconscious energies that latch on. And I acknowledge that because a lot of us are still finding out who we are. But what they're really looking at is freedom. They're looking at how free I am to share myself, people, to share my voice, how I am, truly. I'm not pretending to be anyone. And I feel like that's what trying to grab on, necessarily not me, because I still had I still have a lot of things to do, to work on. I have a lot of fuck ups, I have all these things that I'm embracing and really letting go and releasing with myself. And so I feel like what's being shown to them is like that freedom of who I am is what's I want to be like that. I want to be free. I want to just be me. And right now, people are still finding out how to do that in this systematic way. I mean, I always say that I play with the system in a way, but not in a way that I'm going to get caught. So, yeah, like just a little bit dodging here and there, and but at the same time, I'm not really trying to. I guess it's not even breaking rules. I'm really wanting. I'm just embodying what I want to be, who I want to be every single day, and one of them is singing, one of them is just sharing. It's like people tune into a channel and they tune into my channel and see what I'm doing. And you go, okay, that's cool. That's inspiring. But I just do it because I love what I do. I love what I'm sharing. And it took me a while. Rejection issues come in, abandonment, all this stuff through social media. I had to find to navigate because either you are being run by a social media or you're running the social media for your own benefit. So there's this like dance. And now for me, my mindset has shifted when it comes to what can I bring into this field? Because there's a lot of negativity in the field. So I say, what can I bring that would bring a little bit of sunshine in this field or a little bit of truth in this field? And the trigger, the truth, the all these things. But yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for being the channel, for doing what you love, and for showing up fully.
Thank you.